Broadcasting live from SETI Alpha 6 in the Andromeda Galaxy, this is Mr. C.
Okay, 8th grade. Happy downhill day to you. We're going down the mountain. It's all downhill after today. So you've got two worksheets. You've got two white sheets. So if you'll number to 10 on one of those white sheets, 1 to 10, you do have a quiz. And I advertised it kind of yesterday, and Mr. Gilbert reinforced it. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. That's it. 2 minutes to look over LS8. So 2 minutes, LS8. One minute. You're looking at LS8. If you care, 10 points on your quiz. It will count. It's not optional. "30 seconds. And 5 seconds. All right, if you'll put away LS8, so stow it, put it away out of sight. Thank you. Hey, name, date, period, upper right-hand corner right now. Name, date, period, upper right-hand corner. Hey, RLO students, you're doing this right now, and you're going to send it to me. I need to have it, you send it to me today. Send me your quiz score. So send it to me in Teams. Okay, you've got a word bank available to you. Okay, a word bank. So here it is. So it's up on the board. So look it over. And here we go. Okay, sit up straight, please. Don't look left, right. No cause for suspicion. Cover your paper up with the cover sheet. All right, number 1. Who is Gregor Mendel? Give just a little short answer. Who is he? You need several words. You need a phrase. Number 1, who's Gregor Mendel? Number 2, what do we call the passing of physical characteristics from parents to children? There's a term for that, one-word answer. The passing of physical characteristics from parents to children. It's one of those answers up there on the board. Hey, you're not going to use them all? They're just up there to help you out spelling-wise, but you won't use them all. And you can't use an answer twice. Number 3, what do we call any characteristic, like height, for instance, that you inherit from your parents? Any characteristic, height, eye color, you name it. There are probably 100 or more different characteristics that you inherit. Okay, number 4, what's the scientific study of heredity called? The science of heredity, the scientific study of heredity. That's number 4. Number 5. I think you've heard of this I haven't exactly told you this. I might have used it, I might not have. It's okay. You should be able to figure it out. What is the name of the molecule? And the big fat name is deoxyribonucleic acid. What does that stand for? Does it involve inheritance? Oh, yeah. Yeah. What is deoxyribonucleic acid? What's the shortened version of that? The famous version of deoxyribonucleic acid. Shortened version. Number 5. Number 6. What do we call the factors that influence a trait? The factors that influence a trait. What do we call them? Or the chunks of DNA that influence a trait. It's number 6. One word answer. The factors that influence a trait. And you get one or many from mom and one or many from dad, and they combine and cause your traits. Number 7, what do you call the long chains of DNA that cause you to be you? You get 23 from mom, 23 from dad, and they pair up in a miraculous way, proving there's a God. That would be number 7. The long chains of DNA. You have 46 total in your zygote. Okay. Number 9, what's the term for a ruling over, I'll say, allele? A ruling over. It rules over the other one and causes this characteristic to be hidden. Rules over. That's number 8. Number 9. So ruling over number 8. This is number 9 now. Number 9, what do you call a kind of allele where you get the same allele from mom and the same from dad? So it's guaranteed you will have that trait. So you get the same allele from mom and the same allele from dad. There's a term for it. What's it called? Use the terms on the board. So that was 9. Number 10, what do you call a hidden allele? It's ruled over, so it doesn't show up. You can't see it in the living thing, but it's there and can be passed on. It's hidden. What's the term for it? A hidden allele. Number 10. Number 11, what's the term where you have 2 different kinds, 2 different alleles? Let's say you got alleles for tallness from dad and shortness from mom. So 2 different kinds of alleles. It's a one-word answer, and that is number 11. And number 12. Now, wink, wink. This is, if you're paying attention, you have to get this right. Number 12. What is the name we use for a flavor of a gene, like tallness or shortness? The flavor of a gene. What's the name for that? One-word answer. What's the name for it? All right, it's a perfect stopping point to get any clarification from Mr. Gilbert. So I'll be back in just a little bit and we'll grade this. And then I've got to teach you a cool thing, and then I'll tell you we've got to finish up whether we have this trait or not. I'd like to finish that up today. So, Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gilbert. Raise your hand if you have any questions. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So let's grade this. You've got a red pen out now, so out comes a red pen. Stow the pen or pencil you just wrote with. So it's number right over 12. Nice little score, if you did well. And here are the answers. So here we go. Number 1, who's Gregor Mendel? Well, he's a scientist who did all the original genetic experiments with pea plants, sweet pea plants. Or you could say he's the father of genetics. Or he's the first real genetics researcher. Something like that. Put a question mark by it if you're not sure. Okay? That was number 1. Number 2, what do we call the passing on of physical characteristics from parents to offspring? That is called heredity. Number 2 is heredity. If it's wrong, put a line through the number and put -1 in the margin. These are each worth 1 point, not half, 1 point. Number 3, any characteristic that you inherit. What do we call it? Individual characteristics, like height, eye color, skin color. What do you call it? That's a trait. Number 3, trait. Number 4, the scientific study of heredity, genetics, genetics. Number 4, genetics. Number 5, what is the shortened version of deoxyribonucleic acid? I gave you a hint at the end. DNA. Can you see why we call it DNA? It's so complex. That's why it has a big, long chemical name. Deoxyribonucleic acid, aka DNA. Number 6, what are the factors that influence a trait or the chunks of DNA? What are they called? Genes. Number 6, genes. Number 7, the long chains of DNA are chromosomes. Chromosomes, it was up there on the board, chromosomes. Number 8, what do we call a ruling over allele? Dominant, a dominant allele. It dominates. A dominant allele. It doesn't let the other form of the trait show up. Dominant. Usually dark is usually dominant. When it comes to hair color, eye color, skin color, dark usually dominates. Dark alleles. Number 8, what if you just have one kind of allele? So let's say you've got blue-eyed alleles from mom, blue-eyed from dad. Tallness alleles from dad, tallness alleles from mom. That is called purebred. Purebred or pure. Purebred allele. Okay, number 10. What do you call a hidden allele? It's hidden so it can't show up because it's dominated by the dominant one. What's it called? A recessive allele. Recessive. Recessive. Okay. Number 11, 2 different kinds of alleles. That's a hybrid. H-Y-B-R-I-D. A hybrid allele. Like if you had dark-eyed genes from dad and blue-eyed genes from mom. You are hybrid for eye color. Hybrid. 2 different alleles. Now, number 12. What do you call a flavor of a gene? Like dark-eyed or light-eyed, blue-eyed? Allele. I was just using it. And it was on the board. Allele. Number right over 12. Number right over 12. Make sure your name, date, and period is in the upper right-hand corner. Don't even think about turning it in unless it is. Pass it into the center. Into the center. Mr. Gilbert will pick those up. If you'll take out LS9, boy, do we need to hurry. LS9, actually LS8 first. LS8. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to ask you on the test on Friday. So you've got LS8 out in the top box. Circle these things. You've got to know these things. Heredity, the passing of physical traits from parents to offspring. So you can see I circled all of these. Heredity, circle it. Circle Gregor, Mendel. And circle pea plants. That's the organism he did his genetic research on. Pea plants. Circle trait. Each characteristic is a trait. Circle trait. And then circle the study of heredity, genetics. Over on the right of the top box, circle purebred. See that? That's my number 7 over there. Purebred. Purebred. And you might want to put same allele. That's what I'm doing. Same allele. If you're purebred. It says same form of a trait, but what is form of a trait? That's an allele. And then down in the bottom box, circle gene, a factor that controls a trait, gene. And then the different forms or flavors of a gene, circle alleles, alleles. And then bottom box over on the right side, a trait that always shows up when that allele is present. It dominates. A dominant allele. And then the one that's hidden right below it, a recessive. See that? Dominant and recessive. Over on the right side. And then I want you to write in, if you'll see how I wrote in hybrid down there at the bottom. See that? Hybrid. 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 Write it in. You're writing it in. It's not that hard. Now everyone, right now. Period 2, are you listening? Right now, write in hybrid on LS8. Should have had it out. You should be doing all of this. Hybrid. And what's a hybrid? A hybrid is where you have two different forms of a gene or two different alleles. So hybrid, two different alleles. And then I wrote over on the other side, see where I wrote chromosome, chromosome. On the bottom, chromosome. Those are the long chains of DNA. It's all your DNA. Chromosome. It's up on the board in your word bank. Chromosome. Stick it down there at the bottom on LS8. Chromosome. The chains of DNA. The chains of DNA. How many do you have total? I want you to write the number right up above it or beside it. You have 46. 23 from mom, 23 from dad. That'll be on Friday's test. How many chromosomes in a human? Now, each animal has a different chromosome number. Well, you'd expect that because they're different. And it's the chromosomes with their DNA that makes them the way they are. So how many chromosomes do you have in your zygote? 46. How many from mom? 23. How many from Dad? 23. Chromosome, those long chains of DNA. So you've got that down. Okay. Now, I want to show you something kind of cool, and you'll deal with this in your homework, the page numbers that you're going to read. Okay? You don't have to write anything down right now. Just watch. Watch this. This is a Punnett Square. Ants a square. Now, Mr. C, what do the letters stand for? I'm glad you asked. Here's what the letters stand for in a Punnett Square. Punnett Squares, and you'll find this on LS9. When you look at LS9, look at LS9. I want you to circle Punnett Square on LS9. See that? Punnett Square. So circle Punnett Square on LS9. And then circle the word tool. Circle the word tool right over here by my finger, right there, by my index finger. Punnett Square, and it's a tool. What is it a tool for? It's a tool for determining what's the probability that you will get a certain trait. Okay? So you do a square, and then you put the alleles down in the square and you cross them. Let me show you how you do it. It is kind of fun. Punnett Squares. What do the capital T's stand for? Those are dominant traits. Now, when Gregor Mendel did his research on the sweet pea plants, you know what he discovered? When he crossed pure short plants with pure tall plants, what do you think he got? Show me a 1. I think all the plants were tall. Show me a 2. I think all the plants were short. He crossed pure short plants with pure tall plants. Mr. C, I think some were short and some were tall. Show me a 3. You get one number. Don't show me a whole bunch. So right now, show me a number so Mr. Gilbert can see it. All right, here's what he found. All of the plants were tall. What does that mean? That means tallness in pea plants, dominant or recessive. It dominated. It was the dominant trait. So when we do a Punnett Square to see how the alleles cross, we use capital letters at symbolic of traits. So T for tallness, and they're dominant traits. And what are the lowercase letters? Short T's. What are they? Short. Those are for short. So over on the left side, right over here, you've got big T, big T. So those are pure tall plants. And you cross them with little t, little t. Those are pure short plants. What do you get? Well, here's how you do it. What's this? You bring the little t down and the big T over, like this. So down comes the little t. We'll draw arrows. And each box represents one plant. So that one, see that? Big T, little t. What's it going to be, tall or short? It's going to be tall. It's a hybrid, right? It has a recessive short gene that's hidden. See that? So the big T symbolizes a dominant allele for tallness in the plants, in the sweet peas that Gregor Mendel crossed. So you bring the ones on the top down and the ones on the side over. So I'll do that really quick. Won't take me long. I'm doing it quickly. I'm done, or almost done. Okay, look at that. So you cross those to see what's the probability that you'll get tall or short plants here. And what do you get? Big T, little t, big T, little t, big T, little t, big T, little t. 4 hybrid sweet pea plants. Show me a cap T with your hands if all the plants are tall. Show me a little t if they're all short. I guess put your thumb up if there's some short, some tall. What do you get? Well, you have the big T in all 4 squares, which represents 1 plant. So, what does that mean? All the plants are tall because of the dominant allele. 4 tall plants. But do they have the recessive allele or flavor of the gene? Yes. So if you cross them with another one, is it possible you could get some short plants? Yes. I will show you that Punnett Square tomorrow. Anyway, these are Punnett Squares. They're tools for showing the probability that you'll get certain traits in living things. They're kind of fun. You're going to read about them today in your homework. Perfect. So your homework is to read pages 80 to 84. Read pages 80 to 84, and then do the worksheet. Do the worksheet. You don't have to do the other side. We're going to do that together tomorrow. Just do the lesson quiz side, and that is 85F. Just do 85F. So at the top, will you write pages 80 to 84 at the top of this worksheet that Mr. Gilbert has passed out? Pages 80 to 84. Okay. All right, don't crack your book yet. I want to just show you a few of the other traits. Okay? We already did the cleft chin where you have an indentation there, so you check to see if you had that. Here's another one. It's called the bent little finger. And it's when and I've got to check this and see what it is. So if you have a bent little finger, it's not straight, it kind of bends a little bit, it kind of curves in toward your ring finger a little bit, then you have the dominant trait. I have the recessive. I have a straight little finger, pinky. So I have the recessive version, flavor. Okay? So the bent little finger, and then a couple more. I think we did this already. Dimples, when you smile. Dimples. And dimples are dominant. They're the dominant version. No dimples are the recessive or hidden version. It probably means you'd be big D, little d, right? Okay, eye color. Again, dark is dominant. Darker versions of eye color dominate over lighter colors, like brown over blue. Dominant. We've already done the earlobes. The unattached earlobe is dominant. So this is dominant. This one is recessive, where it looks like it's sewn to the side of your head. All right, we'll do one more. Last one. I think we did tongue rolling already. Oh, we'll try it again. So we'll do two more. Hurry, Mr. C, hurry. Then you'll have just enough time to work on your homework a little bit and for Mr. Gilbert to answer any questions. Okay. All right. So here's what you need to do with this next one. So it's kind of fun. I want you to just put your hands together like this. Just clasp your hands like that. Clasp your hands like that. Do it fast. Just clasp them. Now look to see which thumb is on top. Now, the one that is dominant is, I've got to look at this. It says more people have their left thumb on top than their right thumb. And it's just kind of the natural way they do it. Now I have right. So I've got the recessive version of this. Now these are a little bit informal. There might not be hard data for all of these. But it says in my list that the right thumb on top is the recessive version or allele. Okay, so I've probably got double recessive on that, like little r, little r. Okay, so kind of fun. And then the last one is, I think we did it. It's whether you can roll your tongue or not. Now here's what it means. So wait and let me show you how you've got to do it. Don't try it yet. But we may have done this already. If you have the genes that cause you to have the muscles that allow you to roll your tongue, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're, there's something wrong with you if you can't roll your tongue. So it's just a silly genetic trait. You can roll your tongue like this. Some people can't. That's a recessive trait. Can't roll your tongue like that. So if you can't, you can't. So the only way you can do it is probably reach your fingers in your mouth and roll your tongue. So your fingers are acting like muscles to make it move. Okay, good timing. So Mr. Gilbert is going to answer any questions for you. Okay, and then you are going to work on 85F due tomorrow. And I would review LS8 and the Punnett Square a little bit. So you can see Punnett Squares on the back, and we'll do some work with those tomorrow, some practice. So that'll be kind of fun. So you're doing 85F. Mr. Gilbert, take it away.